Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we can be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. And welcome to another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zhu and Peebush. How you fellas doing?
I'm doing well, man. Tough ending to the finals. I took a nice little 20-piece off Zhu. Helped tip my movers this past weekend. I appreciate that, Andy. Man, you just kept pushing it back one game, man. You're like, it's easy sweep, easy gentlemen's, easy in 6. And you know what? You got your wish. They won in 7. And there's a little bit of an asterisk right next to that, man.
Oh, there's an asterisk.
Major asterisk. But yeah, man, it was I'm in a new place. Had to move this weekend. Hot as hell in Chicago, man. It's been 95 consistently. I'm sure you guys, Sean's like, that's child's play. But in Chicagoland,
for sure.
In Chicagoland, that's a lot, man. So, but yeah, we're done with the NBA playoffs, man. Feels like that 2 months just flew by.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the draft around the corner. I know we'll probably talk about that a little more next week, but we're getting into that dead time of year, guys, unless you're WNBA or MLB fans, man.
Yep.
Kind of the time for you guys to shine.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And speaking of the heat, New York hit 100 degrees today. 100 degrees, man. Was just at a D Rose event. It was hot. It was sweaty. They didn't have no AC in there. Oof. No AC. They had fans. I think there were at least 150 people waiting to see D Rose. So it was a crowded event. Saw my hero, but my God, he bounced real quick. So I don't know. He got a family and kids now. He got no time to sign a bunch of jerseys and hats for his fans. But the guy's a businessman now. That's what he talked about. Like, I'm a business now after basketball. So shout outs to D Rose, man. He still got that clout. The people's champ, man. People still love him. People still love him. I saw people wearing Timberwolves jerseys, freaking obviously the Knicks, the Bulls, like the Cavs. Like he was on a lot of teams. Like D Rose.
I forgot about the Cavs, yeah.
But he became a journeyman after he left the Chicago Bulls. But I saw D Rose, man. He got the dreads. He had the White Sox cap backwards, man. He's still rocking Chicago White Sox.
Good, man.
So he still got love for Chicago. I saw PJ too. He had his wife and his I think it's like 2 or 3 kids now. So all of them were there too. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see.
It's always good to see a man be successful after he leaves the whatever.
He real successful. He's chilling out, man. That was the easy part. He's chilling out. So
I'm sure Adidas is taking care of D-Rose, and I'm pretty sure they're setting him up. I always feel like the guys, like same thing with AI when he signed with whoever he signed with. Like Reebok, when you're not signing with Nike, Reebok, it feels like they have these deals, and sometimes they're lifetime and sometimes they're extended deals post-playing career. But I feel like they always put you in a position where they're going to take care of you with appearances and different types of things, or I guess you would say positions on leadership board somewhere, because it's like you're taking a chance on them. So that is really cool to see guys after basketball flourish like that. But like we all kind of hinted to, it was kind of a tough game 7 to watch just because of the first couple of minutes if people were watching it. So Peebush, what are your thoughts on the game and I guess the series as a whole?
Just unbelievable. I mean, you want to talk about a Cinderella story that went all the way down to the final minute, man? Jesus. I mean, to be honest, when he first went down, I knew immediately, right when I saw it, you knew exactly what happened. You saw the calf ripple and all that. And he knew too, just seeing him kind of smacking the floor and, screaming over and over, no, no, no. That's just a huge recovery. We're going to see it with Tatum over the next year. We're going to see it with Lillard, right? There's been a ton of Achilles tears. I'm very interested to see, because we talked about this maybe 10 years ago and more so on the NFL side, but there was that ACL injury run, right? And even in the NBA too. And now it's kind of shifted over ever since like Kobe, right? When he tore it, you've seen more Achilles injuries.
And it's to the stars.
And it's to the stars. And sadly, all 3 stars in playoffs all wore number 0, man, that tore their Achilles.
That's
read that into however you want.
That's crazy. That's
NBA
crazy.
script, but man, I think the hardest part about the whole thing is that it's not like he was just, it was making his first play or whatever. The man was 3 for 4 from 3 to start the game. He was talking after he hit that 3 and the Thunder called the timeout. He knew And I'm not saying, I know Windhorst, I think, was on ESPN today or yesterday talking about, he could have had 40. Well, it's very possible. He was on pace for it, technically. I'm sure he would have easily gotten 25. And for him, as we've mentioned, that's a great offensive game. And I think the one thing we got to take into account is this game really came down to turnovers. The Thunder shot 40% from the field, man. The Pacers actually shot better from the field and from three compared to the Thunder, but they had 15 more turnovers. And you want to know what doesn't happen? If Tyrese Haliburton is on the floor, that number at least gets cut in half, because you're not the only one. And we said this. Let's be honest with you. I think you might have been underestimating TJ McConnell, because, man, he kept him in that third quarter there for a little bit. He was cooking, looking like Mark Price. Shout out to the Mark Price fans out there from Cleveland Cavaliers back in the 80s, man. But very similar player. He was giving it his all. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people were kind of blaming him for, doing his old runaround routine, kind of making the offense stagnant. But the whole point of that is he never picks up his dribble. You don't have to worry about him getting trapped. He did that one play and got Hartenstein, I think, and Lou Dort were both on him. And he's just too short to get around that. But everyone else on the floor was just completely just sitting there, or they all collapsed in the lane with him. And I'm like, you got to at least give the man some space. He's only 6 foot. Which is funny to say. But I think overall, a couple questionable moves. I don't know why Carlisle pulled Siakam there in the end of third quarter, put in Ben Shepherd. I mean, come on. It's game 7 of the finals. It doesn't make any sense. Carlisle, I made this call out in game 5 as well. I thought he made a couple bonehead decisions when it came to his rotations. Now, obviously, you're throwing everything in the kitchen sink in game 7 when your best player goes down. But, Siakam, he had a bit of a tough game. I thought he couldn't get in rhythm. Mathurin just kind of stat padded at the end with all those free throws. Outside of TJ McConnell, maybe Nembhard a little bit, they were the only two guys that were doing any sort of anything. And it really just came down to taking care of the basketball, because both teams, they were both playing very well defensively. It really just came down to who was going to make more plays. And as we've said throughout this year, the Thunder had the best defensive team in the league, and they showed, and they were able to lean on it to win an NBA final. And unfortunately, there's an asterisk next to it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, this one, because I had a bet on the Thunder to win the series when I think they were tied in the series. I was like, give me the Thunder with that minus 220. Screw it. I'll bet on the Thunder. I think they're going to definitely win, but not going to lie. That first couple of nips, I got a little nervous. Got to be honest. I got a little nervous when I saw Haliburton be that aggressive, because that's the way. If Haliburton puts up 20 points, like, that put their chance of winning extremely high, and he was able to pretty much shoot from deep and stretching the defense out, where you can't really guard guys. You're not going to guard guys all the way out around 28, 30 feet. So he was stretching the defense out, create for his teammates in the future. So I was like, dang, like, Haliburton brought his A game after he had a couple pedestrian games in the finals. But for a guy, I still remember, like, the reason I was in the last game 6, I was so confident that the Thunder was going to get it done. It was because he had a calf injury. I'm like, yo, those things are bad. Like, especially like a lower body injury, where we've seen many, many players struggle to move. And I was completely shocked at how well he played in that game with a significant injury. And
they were able to sit him.
Oh, yeah.
They were able to pull him early too, which was huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, this guy is playing, like, if this was a regular season game, he'd probably be out like 3 to 4 weeks. Like, but it was the NBA Finals, it was do or die. So everybody understood that if Haliburton was out, they had no chance in game 6. So he gutted out in game 6. And in game 7, man, I'm just heartbroken for this franchise, man, because I'm not even a Pacers fan, but this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But this might not ever happen in the next
facts
of making it back to the NBA Finals is extremely. The last time it was Reggie Miller back in the early 2000s. Like, Reggie has had a second career since then, being an NBA TNT commentator. So it's legit been over 20 years since they made it back in the finals. And you're in a game 7 where you're going blow for blow against the best team in the NBA. Like, Jesus Christ, it was the lead changes, especially in the first quarter, and they kept it in there.
They were up 1.5.
They were competing.
They were up 1.5 after Andrew Nembhard had that ridiculous step back. Like, that guy does that on the daily, especially in the playoffs. Like, Andrew Nembhard is a special playoff role player. Like, he's a special one of those defensive guys, and he's a great ball handler, and he shows some passing skills too. Like, he's a really, really good combo guard who could play point or play off ball. So he's really showed us that he's a terrific player in the playoff series. But And that first half, I was like, wow, is this actually going to be that movie miracle? The movie miracle. I always said the Cinderella stories never win NBA championships like this in these types of situations. But I was like, wow, they up one. They're actually playing pretty well. I'm like, dang, the offense is actually kind of flowing still. And their defense is just absolutely intoxicated. Like, Pascal Siakam's a phenomenal defender. That's what I got a lot of respect of Siakam, is that he is an elite defensive player where he's really, really smart, really strong, great help side defender, on ball, off ball. He's like a terrific, like, all NBA caliber defensive player. So Siakam's D was phenomenal first. But when that third quarter hit, I was like, okay, I knew this run's going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen. Just the defense,
I cashed out the Siakam bet.
Yeah. I'm like, when I saw that defense, like the intoxicating defense, where they had trouble inbounding the ball. And I believe they lost the ball in inbounds. And I was
twice.
Like, oh my God. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is remind me, like, this is one of those plays where the Thunder win by their defense. They go on a 15-0 run because of their defense, not because of their offense. They force these turnovers, and then they get these easy layups because offensively, as you mentioned, they did not shoot well at all. 40% from the field, 28% from three. Think about that. 20% from three, and they still won by 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of that defense. As you mentioned, the number of turnovers forced, they only had 7 turnovers relative to 21 turnovers. 21 turnovers, man. Like, dude, like your 3-point game was giving you a shot. TJ McConnell, you're talking about that midi, he looked like Kawhi Leonard. He looked like Kawhi Leonard, man. Like, some of those pull, like, he had a hand in his face. It wasn't like he was getting space on it. He wasn't getting space. He was just freaking pulling it up. I was like, damn, TJ, because in the first half, it was kind of like didn't do much at all. Even after Haliburton got injured, he was just kind of in there just running around. But in the third quarter, he was the only guy that scored for this roster, man. Like, he put the team on his back. But you ain't winning with TJ McConnell pulling up Kawhi Leonard in the offense. Like, nobody else could score on this roster. Obi Toppin went back to a pumpkin 0 for 4. Like, absolutely garbage.
Miles Turner.
Aaron Nesmith. I don't know what this guy was doing. He was getting cooked on defense, and he was just doing nothing on offense. Like, Miles Turner was just kind of a ghost out there. Sometimes I forget he's in the game. Like, he has like no presence. Like, and he missed 3 free throws. Like, I just remember Miles Turner just bricking every free throw. Doesn't get any rebounds. Like, he's like a guard in a center body because he doesn't really get rebounds for this team, and they definitely desperately need rebounds and offensive possessions. But Miles Turner didn't do much. Nembhard definitely showed up, and Pascal Siakam had a good half, but then kind of just tapered off. So, like, overall, like, if you're an Indiana,
they had that game. I think they have that game.
They had. We don't know about that, but
I know
the game would have been a lot more competitive, and it was such a sad way to see the game end because I think OKC kind of just we should have won because the other team lost. Like, I didn't even see them celebrate that hard. Like, if you watch the end of the game, it was kind of a blowout, so it was pretty much decided in the fourth quarter. And when they won, they were just like, we won.
So
like,
they were relieved they didn't give up the game. That's why.
Yeah, I'm like, if you lost to a team that lost their best franchise player at home in a game 7 when you were
coming back from that
minus 760 favorites,
blow up the team,
man.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but we'll be like, how the hell did that happen? It's not like you were injured. It's not like the other team was injured. You guys are completely healthy. And that's really, really hard to do in the NBA, as we've seen from other playoff teams. And, like, being healthy is luck. And obviously, like, they got lucky of not having a single significant injury in the playoffs. So when you got that, you got to maximize these opportunities because, as we mentioned, you don't know when you're going to be back. It took them over a decade to go back to the NBA Finals when you had a Kevin Durant, a James Harden, and Russell. You had 3 future and current MVPs, and you weren't able to come back to the NBA Finals. So you got to capitalize these moments because I don't know, like we all know that OKC dynasty. I don't know about that. Like this
I agree.
Is as balanced as can be. I think in the future they're gonna probably win one more. That's my guess. I think they're gonna win 2 championships, and if they win 3, I'll be blown away of them winning 3 championships because we're seeing the West. Like, everybody watching these games, like GMs got their trade fingers out. Like, we can load up and take down this team. If the Indiana Pacers can force Game 7 against this roster, you could take it down. If the Denver Nuggets with that disastrous, like, dramatic, like, behind the scenes situation could force this team in 7 games, you could take this team down if you oil up right now. And we've seen other teams trading up right now, but like, oh, let's get a crew right now. We can take down this OKC Thunder team because this team ain't perfect. Defensively, they're phenomenal. Offensively, they sometimes struggle offensively. With this Shea-centric offense. So,
do you think they got like stagnant? I think that's the thing for me. Like they just started jacking such bad shots. I'm like, you're gonna let the Pacers back in.
Yeah, like SGA, a lot of isolation. He took a lot of like kind of.
He didn't shoot. I don't think he shot well either.
No, 2 for 12 I don't think from 3.
He shot 8 for 27 from the field. 2 for 12 from 3, as you mentioned. The free throw merchant went 11 for 12, so he always catching his free throws in. But 2 for 12 from 3, like he took a lot of step back threes. And we watched that game, and I'm like, why is he taking so many step back threes? He's not Luka. He's not James Harden. That's not his game. He gets to his mini and does his spin and shoot mid-range jump shots where he shoots an extremely high efficiency. But I don't know if it's stagnant or he got lit or tired maybe, or he just kind of like wasn't completely focused with Haliburton out of the game because human nature. You're like, they lost their best player. Like you should win. You had the better team starting out, and the other team lost their best player. Like you're not even playing against a great team right now without Haliburton. Like. So, for me, like, shout out to OKC winning it.
Yeah.
The guy I'm most happy for is Sam Presti. So then all this noise about, Sam Presti needs to win.
Yeah, monkey's off his back.
This guy is an all-time general manager, and all the work and all the trades and all the drafting that this guy has done, he's gonna have. This is the Sam Presti championship that he's built up. So I'm mostly happy for Sam Presti because all the young guys, I'm like, man, their career is real young and they already got a chip this early. So they kind of chilling pretty much the rest of their careers right now. And this OKC fan base, they got their championship now. They should be completely happy now after a lot of years of being really, really bad, like tanking at a really, really bad level. But they got their ring. Sam Presti's masterpiece of a rebuild. This is how you rebuild, man.
It is.
This is you hit your draft picks. You trade for young guys with upside.
Easier said than done.
Oh yeah. You compare this to a couple other franchises. I'm not going to mention no names.
Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention no names, but you got to hit the draft picks. And that's what Presti did in every single draft pick that they were playing. They were absolutely playing for this team. So shout out to OKC for got it done. But for me, this championship, like I always think of this as the Tyrese Haliburton Achilles injury. And it's so sad because having your Achilles burst in the biggest game of your life when you were 9 points in 7 minutes. Think about that. 9 points in 7 minutes. So I feel bad for Haliburton. And not only does it ruin their ending this year, it's going to ruin
It's over for next year. Well, it's not over, but they're not going to go back to the finals.
It's over.
I'm not going to put out a Rick Carlisle team to get to the playoffs. He'll get them to the playoffs somehow. He'll figure it out.
You ain't going to do anything.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything, but
that's what I'm saying. They're the championship like team now. They're like, we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals consistently.
Yeah, it would be disappointing, but I mean,
so their expectation now.
Unless they trade for someone, I don't know. They could do something we're not thinking about. I don't know. They could get weird with the pick and Pascal for somebody. I don't know.
They do have their point guard.
TJ McConnell's stocks all the way up. So
okay. Let's settle down, TJ.
TJ and TJ. What's his name? Aaron Neesmith and a pick might get you a nice little B-level star.
Okay. The only thing, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more as we preview next year.
Yeah.
This will help Mathurin a lot.
Yeah, develop.
He's a bucket. He's a bucket.
And you know what? When Pascal ends up kind of aging out, I know he's not that old, but compared to the rest of the team, this could end up because it was supposed to be his team, right? And then they made the big trades for both.
And then Tyrese,
And then, he kind of became the sixth man. But with Tyrese hurt, I would not be surprised if you see him in the starting lineup next year. Not at all.
Funny you said when we were talking about OKC's road and we were talking about Denver and like how Jokic pretty much drugged that team to basically 7 games and almost beat them. I don't know if you guys saw the comment of, I think, the new team president, but he was like, and he kind of speaks to how bad the roster is. And he was like, this roster is like one injury away from like us really having to consider trading Jokic.
It's true, though.
And like, it kind of like it was kind of like a drive-by comment, but of course it got aggregated. It got aggregated, and like everybody's picking that up because you don't say that. But it's like, I get his point because the roster was like a ragtag roster, and that's what happens when a lot of the guys, like, it's very similar to like how when Braun was at Cleveland in his first turnaround. It's like Mo Williams was nice, but a lot of those guys were like, Larry Hughes and all them guys on his last leg. It's like, it's just not the greatest of roster, but he was so great it didn't matter. They got to a finals. Same thing with Jokic. It just speaks to they're kind of like on the lesser end in terms of talent in the roster or actual real talent. Because I don't want to disrespect Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, even though Michael Porter seems like he's always hurt. But was it a shoulder he had going on or something? Because he came in with the back. But
in the playoffs.
Anyway, so yeah, you know, my takeaway is everything that you guys said basically about just this. The theme of this final is going to be what if, because he got hurt, and it kind of is really unfortunate that it happened to OKC because it feels like they did everything the right way in terms of how they built their team, and it's like you kind of want to applaud teams that do that, but it's just going to be the facts. Like I even was thinking to myself when I was watching like the fourth quarter, I was like, yeah, Shea's going to get the MVP, but Tyrese has more bigger moments in the series. Like he has the first shot in the game one that he hit, and then in game 6 when he had that spin move going out of bounds and throwing that pass to Pascal, and it was I think it was a poster on who was it?
The dunk.
I can't remember who the defender. Jalen Williams, I think. Yeah, the dunk on him. He had more big moments in the series, even though he obviously wasn't going to win Finals MVP if he lost the finals. But it just felt like the series. It was cool that it went 7 games.
Yep.
And you know, for it to be, I guess, small market teams. If you're a basketball fan, it's nice to watch. But I'm not mad at anybody that's not avid basketball watchers like this. It's like this finals wasn't that good, even if it went 7 games, because it speaks to, we don't have really time to talk about it now, but it really does speak to an NBA problem. Like what are y'all gonna do when LeBron and Steph is gone? Because they don't look great. It does not look great. We don't have anybody we can really get behind, and maybe that's by design, and they're wanting to have a more of a, I don't know, military type, we're all one band, one sound type thing with the NBA they're trying to go for. I don't know, but it's not working.
They're desperately looking. ESPN brings up this topic every single week. Like they're desperate, and I feel like Adam Silver's like, God. Adam Silver's like, yeah, you need a main character of the NBA. That's what it is. A main character.
Entertainment.
You need a main character.
There's big emphasis, entertainment in capital letters for sure. They got to figure that out, because it's again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a guy that's like, oh, they're gonna put these teams in the finals. I'm not saying that, but if the NBA could have their way, they're gonna want one of the bigger markets. Let's just say, I don't know what the top 5 list of NBA markets is, but if you got that top 5, I will almost go out on a limb and say, it's not even going out on a limb or a huge prediction, is one of those teams in those top 5 markets are going to figure out how to be at least in the conference finals next year, because I know you can't be swayed by like the game 7 metrics, because if it's a game 7, everybody's going to watch it. We're talking about in its entire, in the entirety of the series, like what are the ebbs and flows of that? And I'm not a guy who's in TV who knows all that, but it's just saying, if you're looking at it from a bird's eye view, it's like, it's tough. And Tyrese, I felt like, was kind of that guy, but that was really just because he was making crazy shots. There's not anything really about, I know Knicks fans didn't like him, but Knicks fans didn't like him because that's an old rivalry. So maybe that's what we need to start seeing, is more rivalries, like teams that are actual legitimate rivals that go all the way back in history, start matching the playoffs. Maybe that helps. But like I said, what OKC I'm excited that they had the chance to win this, because to your point, Zhu, if they would have somehow screwed this off and didn't win it, again, not hyperbole, I am like, we might need to figure out who needs to go, just because. But I need a pound of flesh if that would have happened, but it didn't. So they figured it out. They got their championship. Like I said, with Indiana, it is tough because, like I said, I think they can make the playoffs, but they're not getting back to the finals. It's just too much parity in the league. And now it's going to be more interesting because we got the draft coming up later, and it's just going to be really I'm going to keep my eyes on a few teams to see what type of moves they're making, because obviously, as we've seen, as we're about to get into talking about trades, there are teams that are going for it because everybody I think Indiana pissed more people off because they're just like, I bet you there were GMs just in random parts of the United States. They're just like, how the hell did this team get to the final? And they're just pissed. They're like, dude, we could freaking, like, they look at OKC and they respect the talent. They're like, okay, we get that crap. What is this Indiana stuff? And I think a lot of it is they don't respect Rick Carlisle, maybe because he's just that good of a coach. But I think a lot of them are just sitting there like, yo, we can be there. Like, let's start making trades. Let's figure out stuff. Like, even with the Hawks today, and we're not going to really talk about it, but them making moves, like they're trying to make a little move in East. So going into that, Zhu, what are your thoughts on the biggest trade that happened a couple of days ago was Durant going to Houston?
Houston, man, we got a problem, man. Jesus Christ, this team is ridiculous. I don't know. Kevin Durant just seems to find his ways into situations where, it's another number 2 seed now. I'm going in the bandwagon with another great team. He did the same with the Phoenix Suns. when they were rising. Like that team made the finals and lost. This team obviously lost in the first round, but they won 7 games and like they were highly competitive for this young team. Like this is a win now move. Like this is a win now move without giving up win now assets. That's what they've done.
Yep.
You got to pick
Nailed
up putting all your poker chips in the middle. They're like, nah, we'll just give you a $25, a $50 chip, $100. Hundreds chilling in my hand. I'm just like playing around for a potential, I don't know, a Giannis trade maybe, because they do have the assets. They're one of the few teams with an assets to pull off a Giannis. I'm just saying. There's a reason why they kept all the first outside their first round pick that they're giving back to the Suns, which is the Suns' own pick, surprisingly enough. But they have a bunch of all their first round picks and a lot of Phoenix's picks and Nets picks. So like they have a war chest of picks and young players. Cam Whitmore, a Reed Shepard, a Tyrese, and like they got a bunch of great tradable Jabari Smith, a bunch of good tradable assets for a potential future deal. But if I'm looking at this as a final product in this roster, yeah, they're 7-8 deep right now, and this team is ready to contend for a championship because the one thing they were missing in the playoffs was an offensive isolation score that Jalen Green was given the keys. The keys to drive the car. Like, we need you to be a scorer. We need you to be a guy in isolation situations. You can create shots when offensively the team was absolutely struggling offensively. And Jalen Green went to bed. And Jalen Green is making big money. 30.
He's not ready yet. Yeah.
Like he ain't on his rookie contract no more. Like Jalen Green, I see him as like a Zach LaVine, like a bootleg Zach LaVine type. Like he's skinny body, elite athleticism, IQ, a little stupid on and off the court, a little stupid. The jump shot ain't the best. So like Jalen Green, like you want this guy as your alpha number one scorer? Give me Kevin Durant, man. Give me Kevin Durant, even though this brother is old. 37 years old.
Yeah, he up there.
He's old, but he puts up 25 a game still on elite efficiency.
Yep.
And you're adding Kevin Durant right now. Like, he doesn't need to be the leader. He just needs to be the dynamic scorer that he's been for his entire career.
Don't trade Fred VanVleet. They need a leader. Do not trade him. Don't trade him.
He's kind of important for this roster because he's a veteran leading guard. He's not the best scorer, but I just need him to pound the ball, not turn it over, and hit open threes.
Yeah.
That's it. Orchestrate the offense. I don't need to be heat checking threes. Like, take the open three. You don't need to be Steph Curry for this roster. Just be a floor general. Be a Mike Conley type. Like, you don't need a superstar at the point guard position, especially with this roster and how loaded it is. And you got Alfred Şengün being a point center for this team, too. So, as those guys as your cornerstones and having KD sliding in at the wing, you get the Thompson Quinn developing a jump shot. Hopefully, this guy is a two-way stud. Like, defensively, he's already an A-plus type of guy, especially if you notice in these playoffs, physicality, perimeter, defenders are key. You got to have those guys. And you need a couple of those guys, and he's an elite defensive player. He's still built up his offensive game, so he's not even close to a ceiling yet. So you didn't have to give up him. You didn't have to give up your number 3 pick, Jabari Smith, who's a 6'10" wing guy, who's also a great defender, and he could be a stretch forward for this roster. So you didn't give up any. Yeah, and the bench too. Like, the bench, you re-up Steven Adams on a pretty friendly contract, and we saw how important Steven Adams was in the playoffs as an offensive rebounder. Like, Steven Adams is an elite player. And as I mentioned, this gives an opportunity for the young guys to step up. Like, you got to develop a Cam Whitmore, who's an elite athlete that's a great scorer. A Reed Shepard, who could be a backup point guard and slide in that position immediately. So I feel like you got 8 guys that could play playoff minutes right now for this roster. And maybe they get another veteran to come in to fill out the entire bench. But I see, like, you give me 8 good guys where you could play consistent 20-plus minutes in the playoffs. You slide in Kevin Durant, the perfect fit, and you have a war chest for a potential future trade of another star demands. Or you just use that to get some more veteran leadership and get another great bench role player to help it out, because those guys are very, very important, as you've seen from the Indiana Pacers and like an Obi Toppin. Just having another athletic guy that can hit.
That's what they need Jabari to be. They need Jabari to be their Obi Toppin. Yep. Exactly. So, like, hell of a move, not giving in, because they gave up only 1 first-round pick. And they have a lot of picks that they could have. Like, this could have been like, oh, Katie, we want 3 first-round picks up protected. If you want a Kevin Durant, let's get that deal done. They're like, nah.
and they negotiated. KD obviously helped them out because KD was just, I ain't going to that team. Like, my teams are Houston Rockets. Like, I think he hit the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. Like, those are only teams. He's on an expiring contract, so he has a little leverage of where he was going. Or you don't want to trade for Kevin Durant if he's going to whine. Like, the Warriors could have had a KD trade down, but KD didn't want to go there, so a deal didn't get done. The Minnesota Timberwolves had a trade to get Kevin Durant, but KD didn't want to go to T-Wolves, so
and they offered more.
Yeah, they offered more. I don't know what the asset package was, but they offered more, and they would have got a deal done if KD okayed it. But he didn't want to go there. He wanted to go to Houston. So you got what you want for a game, man. KD, you always get what you want.
I'm about to say, he always gets what he wants.
He's just like, I want to go to the Warriors. Boom, Warriors. Go to the Brooklyn Nets. Disastrous situation, how it ended. Go to the Phoenix Suns. He kind of blew up that franchise. Like, absolutely blew up the franchise. Like, they didn't get anything. They got a second round.
Don't forget Bradley.
Oh, okay. That was one of the worst trades in the history of basketball, trading Chris Paul.
That's what really blew them up.
Bradley Beal. Like, that was, I don't know what the GM
Good
was
luck trading him, too.
2 shooting guards as your backcourt. Who would have thought? Like, that would have fit perfectly. Yeah. So, you're looking at this roster right now with Kevin Durant. The fit is perfect. They're in a win-now situation. They're second best odds to win an NBA championship right now as of today.
Crazy, yeah.
Which you think about, like OKC, obviously going back-to-back favorites, plus 200, plus 220. Well, Houston Rockets around plus 700, 750 plus. So obviously the odds aren't like as good as OKC, but they are in the contender category now. Last year they made the leap. Now they put a little get a veteran in with the young guys. Okay, we talking Houston. Like, this is also one of the better rebuilds in the NBA, and as you've seen,
that's true.
You rebuild after the James Harden debacle, you get away, get some assets, hit your draft picks, Şengün, Tyrese, Thompson, Reed Shepard. Like, you got to hit these picks, and then you add a little veteran mix in there to
Jalen Green just enough. He did just enough.
He got just enough asset value to get you a Kevin Durant because you shipped out Dylan Brooks. You got to go from Dylan Brooks.
To be fair, I would argue that I would argue losing Brooks is actually worse than Jalen Green, because Jalen Green, you can find a Jalen Green, but Brooks, man, he's just like that
two-way guy,
defender. He's going to be loud. He's the guy that you want on your team.
He's annoying. He's the agitator. Like, he makes some noise, but
he's their Lou Dort. He's their worst version of Lou Dort. That's exactly what he is. Okay.
Yeah, we got Thompson. We got the Thompson twin for doing that job.
Sure, I agree. Now, he does need to develop a jump shot. But, Zhu, you brought up a great point, man. They were missing their isolation scorer. I think that was the biggest thing. They were bottom 8 in the league this past year, and outside of transition offense, man. So outside of just fast break opportunities, playing the defensive passing lanes and getting out, they were the only team that made the playoffs that was worse. I'm sure you guys can all guess it. The Orlando Magic. Obviously. They were the worst. They were the worst offensive team that made the playoffs this year, and the Rockets were still rivaling them in true set half-court basketball. And that's because, to your point, a little bit almost like what the Thunder were doing at the end of Game 7, man. They just kind of jack threes sometimes. Usually it's Fred VanVleet. A lot of times it was Jalen Green. They kind of got away. If you guys remember that first-round series, when they went to Şengün and just let him cook, that's when they were in games. That's when they were winning games against the Warriors. And, I do think we're crediting them a little. They should have probably won that series. They were the 2 seed, man. I know that all the two down to the 8 was competitive, but it was the jitters of having most of these guys their first playoff series. Obviously, Jalen Green did not live up to the hype, and I think that is what set off this whole thing in motion. We're seeing that you're supposed to be isolation scorer. Who I agree with you. I think Zach LaVine is a great comparison. Maybe he might not even reach that level, but because
Zach LaVine is a much better shooter. He's developed into an elite catch and shoot 3-point shooter where Jalen Green does not have that yet.
But I love the fact that they kept Tyrese. I thought that was a huge,
two-way defender
guy to keep. Same thing, but not as much, but still important. To your point about Jabari Smith, I thought it was good that they kept him just for his own, just for your own consistency in your team, right? Because a guy like Kevin Durant, to all of our points, if he kind of comes in and you trade all the guys that you just had on the team, it can kind of mess up the chemistry. It can mess up just the mental attitude of the entire team. Whose team is this? I think it's still very obvious that this will be Kevin Durant's team. Like, Şengün is a great player. Şengün's a great player. Sengun's a great player, but
if that happens, I'm out. Show me the door. I'm out. If that happens, I'm out.
If what happens?
If Kevin Durant if like they're like, okay, you're our dude. I'm out.
No,
I'm out.
Yeah, I disagree on that. I think Sengun has to be the guy. And Kevin Durant,
I'm not saying
plays the complimentary score because Sengun
has to complimentary score,
pass and score. Like so, he's like multiple levels.
I know he's the most important player on the team, but I'm talking about in crunch time, they're going to Kevin Durant.
I have a closer.
As a closer,
like a closer.
That is his team in the final 2 minutes of games. Yep. That is his team, and that's really all that matters. That's what they're bringing him in for. Yeah, I agree. But at 37 years old, man, I mean, we all remember Carmelo Anthony at 37 years old. This is a completely different level of player, and this is why he is the best scorer in my generation, in my opinion. But on the Suns side, I like it. Look, they had to get rid of it. This is just it was a mistake. It was an experiment. It failed. They still have another guy that they need to offload as well. But look, that 10th pick is going to be more valuable in 5 years than both of the players that they got. Jalen Green, who knows? Maybe they'll flip him. Probably try and get some more.
I'm not sure why they got Jalen Green because he doesn't fit with Devin Booker.
No, not at all. And their entire lineup is guards right now. Guards and maybe a small forward here and there. But I just think that 10th pick is going to be huge. I know they got it back. It's their own pick. But they own their mistake and they finally just cashed out. They probably could have gotten more. Unfortunately, Kevin Durant is the way he is and is able to get that sway within the NBA. Mm-hmm. So it is tough when you kind of go all in on a guy right after you win a championship. You make a championship game. I'm sorry, but that was just the wrong move. I think they should have I know Chris Paul was getting older. I think they should have gone a different direction with how they did it, but they got Kevin Durant. They went all in with Bradley Beal as well. Horrible decision-making, trading DeAndre Ayton as well. Just completely blown
too. That Nurkic, DeAndre trade was a disaster.
And they just ruined themselves for probably the next 7 years, if we're being completely honest. And look, they got to the mountaintop, and a team like the Pacers, you won't see the Pacers do something like that. All right, they would not. Maybe they will. But I don't think they will. So on the Suns side, they just cut their losses. They had to do it, get at least something back, and just kind of start fresh. But yeah, the Rockets, man. If I'm the Thunder, I'm a little scared. This team was right behind you, pretty much all year. I know Thunder were the best team by far, but the Rockets are right there.
I'd be nervous. I'm not sweating, but I'm looking over my shoulders like, oh, there might be a team because they do present a lot of different options with just especially upside wise, even just not even talking about Durant, like you talking about if Amen takes a step and then Şengün keeps taking a step. Those are two type of guys because I don't think there's anybody on OKC who's got the athleticism of Amen and Şengün in terms of skill level. I mean, Chet's got potential, but I'll take Şengün as
bruiser. He's a bruiser.
Dort will be able to foul him a lot, but I don't know about guarding. Like he could, him and I don't know, name another guy off the bench could take 12 fouls or whatever. But it'd be an issue.
Just grabbing on the hands,
it'd be an issue for sure. I just first addressing the trade aspect. I do love it for Houston more, which is kind of I feel like a no-brainer just because of the asset retention. Because let's just say if this Kevin Durant thing doesn't work out, they still have a majority of their core team. So it's kind of like, hey, it's not like Phoenix where it's like, oh, it didn't work. We got to trade away Kevin. And we don't have anything left but Book. We still got a lot of our core guys. We're going to renew them and we'll just move on. So it feels like they won it just in that aspect. Because I was figuring if they were going to trade with Houston, they were going to get their hands on Şengün or Jabari Smith. I was thinking they were going to get one on.
Oh, Jabari Smith was the one I thought.
I thought that's who. They would take. Yeah, and I think more than likely if the Rockets had to give up one of those, it'd be Jabari. So I was thinking they was going to get him. But the fact that they gave up Dillon Brooks, who, like I said, he's lasted longer than whatever he was doing in Memphis and going crazy and just causing chaos. But like I said, he's a valuable guy in this league, and he's still in the league. So he was a great trade asset. Not giving up on Jalen Green, but to your point, I think he's got to kind of maybe just discover that. I don't think it's a good fit in Phoenix. I don't know if he'll still be able to take a progression of where he'll maybe figure himself out as a scorer because the talent is there. And when a guy's that athletic, he has the potential to be a better player than what he showed. And again, too, playing the playoffs is for a lot of players is a different beast. And sometimes you don't step up like they think you are. But And on Phoenix side, just to cover them real quick, you still got Book, which is nice. He's not demanding to leave anywhere yet. So if you maybe can trade for some assets or something to get maybe more picks and fill out that team more in that draft, maybe they have a potential to maybe get to a play-in. But I kind of feel like with Bradley Beal, they're probably going to have to buy him out, which is pretty insane because considering what his trajectory was going to be, because I don't see a trade. I just don't see a trade. If someone's got one out there that's
especially with a non-trade, clause. And
shout out to his agent again. Who is his agent? He needs a raise. That is incredible that he got that. It's incredible. God, that's incredible that he got that. But to your point, no trade clause. He can try to predict where he wants to go. He might just get bought out. So that's a tough one to swallow if you're the Phoenix Brass, because I know I don't know if the guy Matt Ishbia, if he was a new owner syndrome, if he was a part of that, because I can't remember when he first came in and was doing stuff with Phoenix. But it feels like he had that new owner syndrome of like, hey, let's just screw up everything that the last guy did because I want to, have my stamp on the franchise. So it's a tough one. But they still got Book. So that's the one positive. Houston, I feel the same way as you guys. I think Durant comes in as a person who's going to be he's like a sniper. Specific role. What are you going to do? Your role is going to be mid-range game, 3-point game, get to the basket when you can. He's 37, so he's not really affecting much on defense, but they got the guys to cover his back on that. Just be present on defense. And to your point, P. Bush, when it comes to the crunch time, he needs to be in that corner. He needs to be on that wing. He needs to be anywhere on the floor where he's open and can make those shots. Because I am out on the Kevin Durant business of, hey, we're going to do everything around him as like he's the central part of the team. Because if that happens, I'm out. Because I kind of, and the only reason why I'm still giving this a chance is because of their asset retention and Şengün. Like Şengün is taking the steps to where he can be a top 5 big man in this league if he gets the ability to run and do what he wants to do on offense. But if you're sitting here and telling me that the brass, and this is why I think Ime is really important as them as a coach, because I think he's going to do what's best for their team. He's not going to be starstruck because it's Kevin Durant and it's like, oh, we need to run offense through him. I think he's going to be like, no, we got to the playoffs without you. We did this. We're going to, focus. We're going to feature you, Kevin, but we're going to focus in on our young core guys. Like the development of Amen is way more important. Development, again, I just said of Şengün is way more important than what Kevin Durant's got going on. Because it kind of makes me feel like I want to watch them, like right when they get into like the regular season, actually watch and see how they progress and see how the big TNT games or ESPN games or whatever, like Amazon, NBC games is going to be going on next couple of years. I want to see those primetime games and see how they actually play, because that's going to be important. Because regardless of what Durant's numbers are, it's kind of feeling like, to a lesser extent, of like Steph and LeBron, like they're so much older now that they're going to always just be efficient until they retire. But I mean, like you said, if you just want to look at it from a Lakers perspective, it's like, if I'm the Lakers brass, I love LeBron, but it's like we got to really think about what Luka wants, because he's the future. They're going to have to start having some conversations in Golden State too. It's like Draymond and Steph, that era. Yeah, it's cool, but the tops of what they're probably going to be is a first-round team. And if everything goes right, nobody gets injured, maybe second round. But they're not getting to a finals or conference finals. So it's like you got to see what's better for the younger part of your team. And the one thing you can say about Kevin Durant is his game does lend to, hey, my game is just I'm a scorer. I don't have to have the ball and do a bunch of different stuff. So that does work. But it's going to be tough because it's going to be really enticing for me to be like, some futures on Houston. I'm kind of tempted to do it, but it's just like, it's hard for me to get there right now because we've seen this script with Kevin, man. He's been on too many teams where we all get excited. He gets traded. We're all like, he's going to do this. And like you said, guess what happens? He does put up great numbers, but some reason the teams don't do anything. They don't do anything.
Well, what's the difference between the others?
They got a strong head coach. I will say Ime's a strong head coach, and Şengün's really, really good.
No, but here's the thing. They don't have old other stars that are all fighting for the same.
Devin Booker's not old, and Bradley Beal's not old.
Okay, you know what I mean? They're more seasoned veterans than Şengün and Tari Eason and Jabari Smith.
They're younger.
Like they're all younger.
They are younger.
They grew up watching him. This is
for sure. Especially Amen. Like he's 20, yeah. Jabari, all them.
Yeah, right. They all grew up watching him, so they're probably going to be in awe of him a little bit. Let's be completely honest, right? When he
which is not good because then the offense is going to revolve around him. I don't like that part.
But to your point, that's where Ime steps in, and he deals with the egos. But Steve, it's like Steve Nash trying to handle Harden, Durant, and Kyrie.
Yeah, that was the wrong coach. That was a new coach.
That's also those three don't fit together. They just don't.
No. They were dominant when they played together.
They were good. They were
ridiculous. Their offense was insane.
That's true
when they were healthy.
I agree, but at the same time, it's still the egos at the end. Who's taking the final shot? Who's doing this? It was always Durant, usually, right? Kyrie, Harden a little bit. But even, you go to the Suns, same situation. Just three dudes who all need the ball to score. Sengun can be a playmaker, to your point. And he can be fine, getting 6 assists. He still wants his points, sure. But I just think the egos aren't there. They're just not as developed in the league yet. And so they're not like, hey, this was my team. He was sharing with Jalen Green until he's choked in the playoffs this past year.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And they were wanting Jalen Green to kind of be that guy, and he just wasn't. Because it was just a new experience for him. But
exactly. So I think this is the best situation since the Thunder for in an egoless sense. I think that's what I'm thinking of this as compared to the other teams he's joined.
It's just like I said, if you put me on the spot, it's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be, if I could get value on Houston or whatever they are, I might want to take their value versus like an OKC repeat or like whoever else is in front of them, which is not, from whoever said the numbers, there's not a lot of teams. It's just I've kind of the thing that's just always been the enigma with KD is like, we wouldn't be saying, hey, we don't need the offense to revolve around KD, because his game demands that the offense be resolved around him. He's efficient. He's an elite scorer. So that's without being like, you can go say that and be like, oh yeah, efficient, elite scorer. We know that. But the thing is with him is part of his problem is he does not assume the leadership position. And to me, that's been kind of the problem, because there are going to be moments, to your point, when there are clutch times that he's going to have to make shots. And, if the shot doesn't go in, it is what it is. But his attitude and his game does not match his attitude, and that's been the problem. And people don't want to really criticize because he's a cool guy and he's just chill and he's just whatever. Like, it's KD, like he just wants the ball. I get it, but it's just when you're talking about being in the realm of championship contenders, it's just and we also too, because he's such a great scorer. I'm not saying you're doing this, people, but I find myself doing this, and I stopped doing it once I saw the Phoenix experiment. We make excuses for him because he's such an elite guy. We just figure it's like, okay, well, it's just like he's like, because we look at his numbers, he's like, his numbers are insane. Like, he should be, and then it's like, yeah, but there's more to basketball than just scoring. Mm-hmm. You got to be a leader. You got to be a guy that guys look to. You got to be a guy who maybe makes a hard foul or something. Like, KD just goes through the motions. And I'm not sitting there trying to be a quarterback coach, because I've never played NBA in my life, but it's the truth of the matter. Like, it hasn't really been great since Golden State. And why is that? Because they have the enforcer and Draymond, who's the leader, and they have Steph, who's egoless, and plus two is just so much insane talent. But even still, they had guys who played their roles. And with Houston, the only thing that could be maybe a little bit hesitant of is, and that's why I was joking, but not joking, Van Vliet needs to be on that team.
Yep.
He has to be on the team. I don't want to see no Van Vliet and Reed Shepherd for a package of another guy. Like, unless it's or like, now if they're getting another veteran point guard or whatever, okay, cool. But I don't want to see another wing depth piece. No, you need another guy who's going to be able to rally the troops and who's going to be able to talk to KD and just get guys in order, because that is so important. Because even when we're looking at the finals that we just watched, they're younger, but Tyrese, obviously, leader of that team, vocal, very expressive. Shea, not as really as vocal as Tyrese, but there were moments that you saw mic'd up. He's in guys' faces, he's talking, doing whatever. You need that. And Shea, too, guess who was he was, had an apprenticeship under Chris Paul. Like, it's that type of moxie and attitude that I think is needed. So, like I said, they have all the young rising talent, and to your point, I think Peebles, you said it. Yeah, OKC should be looking over the shoulder. They should still keep celebrating and have a good time. But yeah, Houston, if you're asking me like right now, yeah, I'm picking Houston over like the Spurs and name another team. Like, I'm picking them all. Like, I love Wemby, but we got to see all these. I don't even know what their team's going to look like. They still got.
Yeah, they got a really interesting.
Fox, Dylan Harper. I need to see some trades. Something's got to go on, because I don't know. I got to see what that final product is going to be. But I'm still picking Houston, even if they get everything they want to get right, because it's still, they got to get to the playoffs like how Houston did last year and figure out how to win and lose and stuff. So, but overall, I'm ecstatic if I'm Houston, because it's a win-win, bro. Like, if Kevin Durant don't work out, okay, well just Segun and Amin, this is our time to go. Let's go. And if they do win, it's like, look, I'm a genius. So it's exciting. It's exciting because again, there was rumors of like different guys like Giannis or something maybe going to Houston, but they end up with Kevin Durant, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Like I said, just put it this way, and this is no way that I'm saying this is my finals pick. But if I'm Houston and Orlando, I'm super excited. I'm talking a lot of junk. I'm talking a lot of smack. If I'm one of those two fan bases right now, I'm feeling really good. Finals. Yeah, I would be feeling myself. So
we should just pool our money and just put that as the finals for the next year. Put $10 in each. Hit big.
Let's do a little bit more research, but I feel good.
You mentioned Orlando and Houston. The one difference between both these guys after the trade is Orlando went all in the poker table. They got no assets left.
They did.
Houston still got a nest egg. And if you look at on paper, I'm taking Houston over Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on paper, for sure.
On paper.
Just if our men takes a jump. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's the guy. Like if he becomes a 22-point scorer with an average
jump shot,
this guy gonna make all-star teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like just with an average.
Too athletic. He's just too. And too, maybe that helps with KD and like he don't have to go as crazy during the regular season and maybe stay healthier because you just got guys like even all the other wings they got on the bench. You don't have to go. I mean, he's still going to put up his buckets, but maybe he can sit out a game or two.
The Bam trajectory. He needs to take the Bam Adebayo trajectory and just be Bam Adebayo. Amin Thompson. He needs to get that mid-range development.
He can be way better.
I know. I'm just saying the same path.
Yeah. You're talking about the trajectory. Like Bam came in as just a rebounder, energy guy. Yes. Now he's a mid-range, and now he's kind of got a low-key a 3-point shot now if he shoots it more. 20. Bam, I'm glad you brought him up. Like Bam is. I wonder what I don't know what Miami's doing, but they could get a haul for Bam. I think Bam is still getting really good.
There are rumors that they were talking about a Bam and Jaylen Brown trade. There have been some discussions.
That'd be an even trade. I wouldn't mind both. If they if he went to Boston,
Finals MVP.
Yeah, nice little contract, but yeah, man, super excited about the end of the NBA season just because next couple of days. I think tomorrow, isn't it? Or is it Thursday?
Tomorrow's the NBA draft.
Day one of the NBA draft. So it's here. We're going to be seeing a new crop of talent coming in. Going to see which I think there's going to be at least a fair amount of trades on draft night, especially the Brooklyn Nets. I think they got like 5 or 6 picks. I don't know, somewhere around there. But yeah, they got a lot of picks. So we're going to see what's going on the next couple of days with the draft. And then next thing you know, you blink, it's going to be Summer League. So make sure you guys are tuned in to a lot of our coverage with the NBA. Like Peebush kind of said at the beginning of the pod, it's a little bit of a dead period. But if you're a WNBA fan or if you're a good old baseball fan, you have some games that you can watch. I'm going to be fully transparent. There's a lot of good stars in WNBA. You guys should be watching it. And, make sure you tune into our YouTube channel, Quantrell Knows, Tyson Talks on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, 5-star review, thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure you do all those things so we can be in the algorithm. And for me, Zhu and Peebush, we are.